Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another post-match reaction pod here on the Italian Football Podcast. My name is Nima Tavallaey, and I'm going to be reacting to Inter versus Fiorentina 3-0 at the San Siro. All goals in the second half, in a game that will probably is Stefano Pioli's last game at Fiorentina. I'm recording this immediately after the game ended. I haven't heard anything, but I expect he probably won't be there in the weekend. As Fiorentina, after 9 games, are in relegation, have 4 points in 19th spot, no wins, 4 draws, 5 losses, 7 goals scored, 15 conceded, below Pisa on same points. But of course, Pisa have played 1 less game. They play, if I'm not mistaken, they play tomorrow against Lazio. But when your Tuscan rivals, and they are rivals, for those of you who don't know, the fan bases and the cities are. They don't like each other at all, Pisa and Fiorentina. So if you're below Pisa, who have returned to the Serie A for the first time in decades, then, well, last time was when they were in the Serie A. Diego Simeone played for them, if I'm not mistaken. When you're below them and you've invested as much as you have, and you have the experience you have, after 9 games, no wins, and you're in 19th spot, on par with Pisa, who have a game in hand, like I said, I don't see how Pioli can continue. And it'll be interesting to see who Fiorentina bring in. Luciano Spalletti, of course, who I've wanted to see at Fiorentina, will not go there, as he's now headed for Juventus. And Palladino, who quit Fiorentina, was rumored to Juventus. So it's interesting to see who they go after, if they decide to not bring, if they decide, or should they decide, which I think is almost a certainty and foregone conclusion, to sack Stefano Pioli, who they bring in. But I know a lot of people are watching. We have to start with the elephant in the room before I continue on with the game, and that is the referees. This game again was a disgrace. That there is this one particular decision that I'm just going to tell everyone to go and watch it. Just go and watch the clothesline wringing of the neck, a neck swing, as we say in Sweden, nacksving, that Pio Esposito was suffered, and the VAR looked at it and decided not to intervene because it wasn't clear and obvious error, for reasons that I don't know what to say. All I'm going to say is go look at that situation. I'm not going to talk about it. For the very simple reason that, given the free speech climate that we live in, if I actually analytically explain and say what I think, we'll be sued. I'll be sued, the pod will be sued, and we'll cease to exist. If I say what I feel, I'll probably be put in prison. All I'll say is, this can't continue. This cannot continue. And to all of you who make those little jokes about Marotta League, try Camorra League. That's my reply to you. That's all I've got to say about that. Let's continue with the match itself. Inter in the first half were in control somewhat, but they looked slow and they looked sluggish, and they didn't seem to be able to miss the final passes, and they looked a little bit out of rhythm, and weren't able to create that much. There was that Dimarco chance where he got the finish on the goal, on the middle of the goal. De Gea, who I think was, maybe if he wasn't the man of the match, despite conceding 3 goals, he certainly was one of the top 3 candidates, one of the 3 best players on the pitch tonight. He was truly brilliant tonight. But that was not the best finish by Dimarco, and Inter really didn't deserve to go into the into the interval with the lead. But everything changed in the 54th minute after that egregious robbery that we saw, because Inter got fired up, and immediately Inter started firing up piling on the pressure. They turned on the style. They switched. It's as if that fired them up. That egregious decision fired Inter up to turn it up a notch. The intensity increased. The movement was better. The passing was crisper. Everything about Inter was sharper, and it took and it was two. However, it was two individual moments of magic, or brilliant skill rather, that unlocked the game. Calhanoglu with a rocket, firing it from, which is now a vintage Calhanoglu shot, and he's apparently now, Fiorentina is apparently his favorite victim in the Serie A. I saw a stat that he'd scored 6 goals on them. And I think Lazio was I think it was tied with Lazio at 5. It was 6 or 5, I can't remember. But I did see Fiorentina score. He's being the team that he's scored the most against. Great shot, great finish. But the man of the match, or the individual skill of the match, belongs to Petar Sucic, who scored his first goal for Inter. And what a goal it was! It was a beautiful move by Inter. I mean, I think we can call that, evil ball now, if we will, because it was this typical kind of thing where his Inter do now. They play much more direct in the middle, much more vertical, one-touch passing, and saw their way through, not so much through the wings as Inzaghi did towards the last 2-3 years of his tenure, but much more down the middle, a bit more like Inzaghi played at Inter in the first year, but he quickly switched out to that in the second and third years. And the way they sawed their way through, and then Petar Sucic just did a wonderful individual piece of skill, with the ball at his feet, doing those little turns, just humiliating the Fiorentina defender. It was absolutely football candy, as we say in Sweden. Go watch it. It was stunning. Absolutely gorgeous goal. Lovely finish, 2-0, and the game is over by then. And then, of course, Boni comes on for Pio Esposito, who in the second half was really good, especially after he was denied a penalty so clear you can see it from the moon. That fired him up, and he started playing much more relaxed, and as if he kind of, whatever was annoying him and Inter, they all kind of collectively forgot about. He won lots of important headers, flicks, started winning more challenges, much more quicker, just like all of Inter. He was really good. He came off, Boni came on, and Boni does what Boni does best, and that is wreak havoc in the opposition's defense. Plays a lovely 1-2 with Lautaro, and then we see a penalty so clear, not even this group of clowns could deny it. And of course, it was a red card as well, because it was a dog. So it was a dog, what I assume was a dog. So I mean, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know what these clowns, I know the laws of the game, but I don't know how these clowns in yellow apply them. But normally that would be a dog. So and a clear red card as well, and because of that. And of course, Calhanoglu scores a penalty, and it's 3-0, and it's not much to talk about. Important win for Inter, that even the last 4 days, where they have been under unbelievable pressure, not because just of the way that they lost to Napoli, where they lost their heads, something Kivo admitted, but of course the tragic car accident that Inter's second goalkeeper Josep Martinez was involved in, where an 81-year-old man in a electric wheelchair, according to reports, suffered a medical emergency and drove into the lane, into the car lane, and Martinez hit him despite hitting the brakes, and the man died immediately on the spot. He's obviously devastated, and reports talk of a Martinez in complete shock. which is completely understandable. He apparently, according to reports, ran out of the car, tried to help resuscitate, and the man died, unfortunately, despite the police and the ambulance and everyone being there immediately. A truly horrible event, and of course, our thoughts go out to the loved ones of the 81-year-old man. A horrible tragedy. So Inter was shaken. In Kivu, for example, cancelled his pre-match press conference. Marotta today came out and spoke of this horrible tragedy. It has been 4 very difficult days for Inter at every level, mentally, psychologically, mentally, sportingly. So tonight's win for them to give them some breathing room, at least on the sporting side, so they can deal with the human side, which is, of course, the family of the 81-year-old man, and of course Josep Martinez, who will need lots of help to come to terms with this horrible tragedy that he suffered and saw, as multiple reports saying that he's in complete shock. And who can blame what else? What if he wasn't? It'd be strange. So it's been very tough few days for Inter collectively, on and off the pitch, as humans, as players. So tonight at least gives them some breathing room on the pitch with this win, and that was very needed for them. As for going into the Hellas Verona game, and it was also important for Inter, I think, to keep a clean sheet. And I have to say, though, despite Fiorentina being very timid in attack throughout the game, Moise Kean, I thought, was always a handful for Bastoni, for all his defenders. And he had one opportunity where he got the finish away, but didn't scuff the finish. But he's really a handful now. Even though he might not be in form and Fiorentina aren't exactly at their best, he's now a player that Fiorentina that is always a handful every time he goes out on the pitch, which is something we couldn't say about him before, but we can say now he has taken a leap in quality, because even his lowest level is now good, at the very least okay or good, and that shows a player that has taken that leap in quality, and we're seeing it now on a consistent level, at least in the calendar year of 2025. So it'll be very interesting to see whoever takes over, how he feels Moise Kean, and how they get the best out of him, because I don't think we've seen the best of Moise Kean just yet, which is quite interesting given that he's been pretty good. And that's not something you could have said about him a couple of years ago, where he would be so inconsistent. And we can't say that now. He is very consistent. Just a quick note on managers who also will be sacked. Probably Patrick Vieira as well. Lost to Cremonese. I think they had two goals disallowed. I haven't been able to check that, as that game was played simultaneously as the Inter game. And so I was unable to watch that game as well. Bologna played a goalless draw with Torino, and again I haven't been able to watch those, but I was able to watch Roma, and I was able to eye through Juventus, who played earlier today, and Roma continued to win. Roma, I'd say, dominated this game in terms of possession, but when it came to chance creation, Parma actually created more, but Parma can't really score. And Suzuki, yes, there was an instance where you can say he made a couple of good saves. He also made a mistake, but then the counter argument he did that one of his own players were interfered in him. But I haven't seen anything close up to say how much of a contact there was. But it doesn't really matter, because Roma continue to win, Parma continue to lose, despite creating more than their counterparts and their opposition rather. It's a bit of a problem for Parma, as myself and Carlo predicted. But given that the other teams below them are so poor, it's I think they'll stay up by virtue of that, unless Fiorentina we can expect to wake up, Hellas as well, but there's still enough teams below them that should safely see them stay up. even though maybe in terms of quality and in terms of quality of what they create and the goals they score, they probably shouldn't be. I know many people won't like me saying this, but I really think the Serie A should be reduced to 18 teams. I really think that. I don't think we have enough quality in the league to warrant 20 teams, but that's a debate that I'm sure we'll be able to have at a later date. Tonight, the main talking points is Petar Sucic, magical goal, Calhanoglu, rocket, Moise Kean has improved his lowest level, Stefano Pioli, probable, most likely, foregone conclusion if you ask me, that he'll be sacked. Patrick Vieira as well. Inter managed to overcome a very difficult week on and off the pitch, win tonight, and are able to put the Napoli thing to rest. And of course, with Conte poking them with a stick, and succeeding to annoy Inter, and his mind games, Inter can at least for the time being put that whole discussion to bed, as they now trail Napoli and Roma 3 points. And they're very much in this race, and it was an important reaction after a very difficult week on and off the pitch, as I mentioned. For everyone else, patrons and everyone else, we'll be back on Monday with a full review of the Serie A match day 10 of the weekend, of course. Lots of interesting games to look forward to. Then, of course, the big match is Milan-Roma of the weekend. Spalletti will most likely be in charge of his Juventus. Now we can say that, against Cremonese, and Napoli against Como should be a really good game as well. And I assume that Sassuolo Genoa will be a new coach as well for Genoa, and Fiorentina play Lecce, which is now a relegation scrap. Will probably be Viola will probably be coached by a new coach there as well. And of course, Parma Bologna, a bit of a local rivalry there as well. Make sure to check that out. So lots and lots to look forward to. We'll be doing a more traditional week next week, as it'll be a Monday show on the Monday morning, as always. And of course, Q&A for patrons and YouTube members, patreon.com/TIFP, or YouTube memberships. Link in description for you there. And of course, we'll do, for patrons and members as well, we'll do a Champions League review on Thursday as well. So we'll get back to normal scheduling next week, for patrons, as we do this week. We experimented a little bit. Then again, there was a lot of breaking news as well, with Igor Tudor getting sacked and Luciano Spalletti being appointed. So we decided to focus more on that. Next week for patrons, back as normal. And for everybody else who follows us, please do like us. If you're watching on YouTube, do hit a like, subscribe, leave a comment what you think, and also if you're listening to this podcast, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Spotify, whatever platform you're listening to. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Ciao, ciao.